Welcome to the Lean Life podcast, where holistic nutrition meets deep healing and soul-level wellness. This is a space where we connect mind, body, and spirit, where lean means shedding the layers, returning to who you truly are, and nourishing yourself from the inside out. I'm Lauren Ahola, your host and holistic registered dietitian with over a decade of experience, and I've learned that real healing goes far beyond food. It's emotional, spiritual, and deeply personal. If you're ready to go deeper, reconnect with yourself, and truly lean into all that you are, you're in the right place. Let's do this. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. And today I have my first guest, so I'm super excited. We have Michelle Woerdeman here. And yeah, I really wanted to bring her onto the podcast. I've been working with Michelle we met about a year and a half ago, and she has her own podcast, Happy Mind, Happy Life podcast. And I thought she'd be the perfect first guest to bring on. We've been working together. Really, I met her at her healing wellness center in Plymouth. And you can I think that's kind of in the works right now, right? It's, I wrote down Mind, Balance, and Wellness Living in downtown Plymouth. So we met there. I went to a yoga class, and we ended up talking at the end of class about kind of what you do in the financial world, and that you got much more into holistic healing. And finances and money have always been such a struggle for me. That's probably the hardest area of my life, which we have been working on together for over a year now. And when I met Michelle, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like we just connected, and the way that you brings energy into it and mindset is really what I needed. And you made me feel so comfortable and understand that in a different way, where a lot of the finance world I feel is very masculine and here's your plan, stick with it. That never really works for me. And I sometimes can feel a little judged of but working with Michelle has been really awesome. I'm excited for you guys to get to experience some of her magic today. So yeah, Michelle, if you want to kind of introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, how you got here, that would be amazing.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. And I feel so blessed to be your first interviewee, your first guest.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're here. This is fun, rather than me just talking to myself. So,
So a little bit about my background, which and I was a certified financial planner, which I still am. I worked in the corporate world for about 20 years. And I would say probably around year 16, 17, I realized that while I was very successful, from the outside, things were great. And I truly loved what I did. Internally, I was having anxiety and panic attacks. I wasn't seeing my kids. I knew something had to change. And I think the biggest aha moment I had was during my commute. I used to commute, if I didn't leave at 5 a.m. or 5:30, it took me an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes just to get to work. And I would start my day angry. It wasn't good. And what I realized after listening to, life coaches, podcasts, all the things, and I realized I could completely just shift my experience of that commute if I thought about it differently. So it was very powerful to realize how our thoughts create our reality, because they create our emotions, and the quality of our emotions really creates the quality of our life. So when I started to really be very mindful of what it was that I was thinking and what reactions that was having, I realized I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is such a powerful way to help people. So where I worked at the time, we worked with very wealthy individuals. And it was always funny to me, because you could have somebody on paper that, 9 out of 10 people would consider extremely wealthy, but they never felt secure. And you could have the opposite. You could have somebody that from the outside may have looked like financially wasn't ready to retire or send their kids to college or something like that, but they lived completely from an abundant mindset. So it was really cool. So when I really started to put like the pieces together around how our thoughts create our emotions, and emotions are energy, they're energy in motion, then I'm like, oh my God, there's such like more, I don't know, opportunity to help people in just a different way. So I literally gave like my team 2 years notice. They thought I was crazy. They're like, wait, so you're leaving this industry to be a life coach? I'm like, yes, I am. I was like, and you all need one.
Oh my
So
gosh.
that's really where it started.
No, I love that. And that's a big reason why I wanted to bring you onto this podcast, like just being like a holistic health podcast. It comes in so many ways. And I felt like that's really where we connected, is like from my nutrition background and, seeing people in office spaces and hospitals and learning like all, the standard, eat this, follow this diet. And then I was like, there's so much more. This doesn't work for people, right? It's like, for some people it does, but beyond like knowing what to eat, it's like, why aren't we doing it? What's your mindset behind it? And when we connected with money with that, it really resonated with me. And I mean, it's an ongoing process, right? Like I tell people with nutrition, we got to be patient and go, feel the emotions and figure out why and where we're at life. And there's so much to it, but I really, it's hard to go back, like you said, when like you realize there's more. It's like, I can't keep doing this. Like, you're going to think I'm crazy, but we're quitting in 2 years. And I mean, I did that commute for probably 3 months of my life, and I was done. I moved into the city. I had my first job in Boston, and I thought every day, this is a miserable way of life. At that point, I was like 23. I didn't really have the mindset shifts stuff that like going then, but I was like, we aren't doing this. So I think a lot of people would bring more peace into Boston driving to hear what you just said. Shift your mindset, and that can help so much.
It was such, I used that time in the car because nothing changed. I did the 5 a.m. time, for 7 years, and I just wasn't seeing my babies. Like they were babies at the time. So when I did leave a little bit later and I was in the car for an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, once I realized that like I didn't have to suffer through that and just like look around at like the other people and just be so angry, I was like, oh my gosh, I can use this time to listen to books or listen to podcasts all about what was becoming interesting to me, like the mindset. And it was just such a powerful shift that sometimes I would get to the office and I'm like, wait, how did I get here? Like, how did an hour and a half just go by? And then I didn't want to get out of my car because I was so into whatever it was that I was listening to. And then I looked forward to getting in my car going home.
That's so cool. It's that every point of our life, I really think, teaches us something, right? And I think if you didn't have all those years working in kind of the mainstream financial world, like you wouldn't have that understanding like you do today. And along the way, maybe that without that almost 2-hour commute, you wouldn't have had that much time with young kids to learn all of that. So that is...
from like a money perspective, I started to shift. And I said, like, this is a means. I'm still here working, making the money as a means to save for a couple of years when I'm going to create my own schedule and have my own business. So when I looked at it that way, it was like, okay, cool. Like, this is what we're doing. Like, and this is why.
Yeah. No, I love that. So how long have you had your own business for? Like, when did that start?
It started August of 2019.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right before COVID. It's like you were ahead. You knew shifts were coming.
Well, and it's funny too, because I look back and I remember joking because everybody I worked with. So obviously one of the biggest reasons I left was the commute. Yes. But I think it was also my intuition telling me it was time. They all started working from home and I'm like, what? I was like, shortly after I left. But it was a big transition, like very, very emotional. I would say the 4 months leading up to it, like I think I felt every emotional possible. And when it came to money, like I was making very good money and I was very secure in that. And I had to completely take that away from myself and my family. So it was, had I not had the mindset that I had around money and coming from abundance, and this isn't meaning like it's frivolous, but it was, I set that 2-year plan on purpose so that I could set myself up to, feel better about the situation because I had planned properly for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think no matter how like financially secure that you are or think that you are, certain life situations like can trigger anybody, right? And it's like, oh, maybe there is something here that like I need to work through. But I think that's one thing that, I don't have a background in is the financial planning and deep understanding of money and all of that. Maybe that's one of my blocks for thinking that too. But to bring that into a business is really nice to have that, background for opening your own business.
Yeah. And I think too, my husband and I always joke because we love to do like vacations. That is one area where I will spend, in my mind, like a ridiculous amount of money on family vacations because I look at like how fast my time is going. And when my husband and I joke around how much we spend, we're both like, okay, cool. Like we'll just make more. I don't make it stressful because I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something we've talked a lot too, is that stress doesn't help. And a lot of your nervous system around money as well. Because I know with your business now, right, it's a lot of like holistic coaching and looking at your website and everything. It's not technically marketed as like, I'm a financial planner, it's more like you have listed like holistic life and mindset coach and podcast host, which is so cool to, I know we connected on the financial aspect. I didn't even know you did like all of that before. So I think too, because right now you do like one-on-ones with a lot of people as well, or
yes. And my app, so the Happy Mind, Happy Life app that just launched, May, is going to be all about money mindset. And
awesome.
Tapping into, the holistic, like the emotional freedom technique, the tapping and like hitting on your taking beliefs or your emotions around money and really just kind of tapping through it. There's meditations around it. There's some coaching tools. Yeah. So I'm excited that this is perfect timing because money, May, all the good things.
Yeah, I'm probably going to be joining that. And if you guys are listening or resonate, I would encourage you to too, because there's so much behind it that you can benefit from. And so, I know you just launched that new app, which is super exciting. So kind of give us like, what do you do now? Like, what does your work look like and what's kind of exciting you, or how do you help people?
So I would say, I love helping people with, their mindset, but bringing things to the awareness that they don't necessarily know. So for example, like when I do sit down with somebody that wants they don't need investment advice per se, or they don't need somebody to manage their investments. They just don't know where to start, or they kind of have things all over the place. One of the first things we do, and this is in any area, but from a money side of things, is write down the word money. Like take some, whether it's 5, 10, whatever, in a quiet space, no distractions, and write what comes up. Like, what are all your beliefs and emotions around money? And it can be a extremely powerful tool into the insight of your relationship that you have with money. So if somebody thinks, I'm not good with money, I don't know how to save, I grew up thinking money doesn't grow from trees, I have to work really hard, being able to uncover those beliefs. So again, we're talking about money, but when I work with other clients, it could be relationships that they have or emotional eating. I don't do the nutrition like you do, but it's why are you like the patterns kind of. So around money, it's very powerful and it can be very emotional for people to be like, they'll write down and they'll go back and they'll look. And it's like, oh, wow, like I didn't even realize these are the stories that I've been telling like myself and the beliefs, because our beliefs are basically thoughts that we've thought so many times that we think that they're like 100% in concrete. And when I go through the list with people and I ask them about it, 90% of the time, these are just stories. Like they're not even real. And it's interesting to help people become aware of that so that in the moment they can start to make different decisions should they want to, like if they're looking, for a different outcome.
Yeah, no, I love that. I remember we did that exercise together and I brought it in and I read it out loud and started like crying my eyes out to you because it's really can be an emotional thing. And it never like, when you're with somebody and my clients do it too, it never feels great to just start crying in like a meeting and you're like, I'm sorry. But I love it when my clients do it. You know that you hit something meaningful.
Yes.
And it really like, just like I kind of wrote Money a letter of like, what is the relationship like with it? And, it's like, I don't want to look at you or I'm fearful to look at you. Like and that doesn't feel like a friendship. It feels sad. And there's, we have all these ties to it. So it makes a lot of sense because you working with so many people as like a holistic life coach, it's kind of what area do they want to work on, right? And if everything's energy, it doesn't matter what the word is. It's like, what is your relationship with this word?
Yes. And that's what's kind of neat too. Like typically a client will come in because they'll want to work on, let's say, a relationship that they're having, that they're struggling with. How the holistic approach works with, whether it's not everybody's into meditation. So it's just more of looking at everything from a whole. What you learn in one area, it's just going to trickle down into all the other areas of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so connected.
Which I love doing. Like we typically start off with, I call it the calm and joy compass. And it's kind of like we go through, their priorities, their values, like where are you on a scale from, 0 to 10 from like an emotional standpoint and not confidence from, but just like where they're at in terms of satisfaction, I guess I'll say. And then we kind of will take one area, but as one particular area usually starts to see a shift, the other areas also do too. So that's kind of really, really cool to see.
That is so cool.
Because it's a mindset. Yeah, your mindset is changing.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to have you on here, because it's so much more than just like save this or invest this, right? It's, and it makes so much sense to even start that approach with, and it can make people think differently. Wow, I never thought of this before. I've always been so focused on like the numbers and logistics, but okay, how about what are we feeling? Because that matters even more.
Yeah. And especially when it comes time to like, I think finances is probably up there in the top 3 of why couples don't make it or they get divorced. And a lot of times there's no communication around it. And they both have just very different stories that they're telling themselves around money. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that can be a game changer when you really are on the same page and you can understand why somebody has maybe an overspending or the other partner is afraid to spend money. And it's when you can come together and understand why the actions are happening, then you can see it from a whole different perspective and then work on it ultimately that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's dive a little deeper into that. So like, what are some common stories that you hear people tell themselves around money?
Yeah. I think the biggest one I hear is, there's a couple. So one is, I've never been good with money. Like so many people say that. So that's a really powerful one to be like, okay, if you're constantly thinking and you truly believe that you're not good with money, you're not going to be good with money. And what does good mean?
Yeah.
Because that could that could mean one thing to one person and something different. So it's showing people that their bank account sometimes is a reflection of the beliefs you have around it and just how you show up every day. So I've seen couples where this was one of the reasons I wanted to continue to work from a money standpoint financially to help women, because they wouldn't look at anything. Because there's that old belief, I think, that goes back, the man ran everything. Like he was the person that did the finances. And again, this is so outdated, but I saw it happen in multiple situations where, the husband he controlled, like, I don't say control, but like he was the one that would meet with the advisors and kind of know what was going on. And if something happened to him and the woman wasn't aware, it's not a great situation, because you're now either, if this person passed away, and this goes both ways too, like wasn't necessarily always the man, but just having one person not have any idea of what type of assets they had, like who they work with, who their accountant is, who their attorney is. If you're mourning someone's death and you're trying to figure out like all of this at the same time, like it's not an ideal situation. So it's educating people. Like you have to know what you have and what you don't have, and your resources.
Yeah, and to, I guess, get empowered and not be scared of it either. Because
Yeah.
I've heard that before, just with some, clients that I work with. It's all connected, but you don't expect that in life. And I think to empower yourself to be like, understanding money on your own. And I can relate to that belief. I think I came to you and said, I'm just not good with money. And I truly have believed that from a young age. It's like just, I think our beliefs are shaped so much from when we're younger, and they're not new. Yes. Right? So do you see that in your clients too, or believe that as well as like, can you see, do you kind of get into like, when did this start for you, or?
Yeah. And that's important too, because when somebody does come, or it's, I don't know how to save money, or like something like that, like going back to like, okay, what makes you think that? Like, when did you start to believe that and why? Because then you can start to question the actual truth around it. Like, is this actually true? And then show them in ways where it might not, like it could be the opposite.
Yeah. Is this just something I've said to myself my whole life, so it seems true? But like, is it actually true? So yeah, I think that's really empowering to just even have the awareness to question things, rather than just being like, well, this is just how I am. Because when we think that, we really don't have any opportunities to be open to change. And at any age, we can change. But what I always say to my clients, is like a lot of our subconscious beliefs, that mind that we don't really know is ruling our life, like those start from such a young age, like a lot from 0 to 7, or, even teenage years. Like your brain's still forming into like your early 20s, but mostly from ages of 0 to 7. So it can be, tying that in too.
Because I think if you grow up in a household where money was always a very sore subject, if your parents always fought about money, or you grew up not having enough, or like just worried about like where your next meal was going to come, you're bringing that into your adult life, like whether you know it or not, like it's coming. And same is true if you grew up with parents that, they would just spend money on, I don't know, something frivolous, but they had their water turned off or their electricity turned off because they just didn't look at bills, or they didn't take the time. Like, that's what you're teaching. Like, that's what people are picking up when they're young. So chances are, it could go the complete opposite, but that's where a lot of our beliefs stem from, and just watching and learning.
Yes. Yeah. What was your upbringing like with money in your household?
What's funny? I thought about that when I was looking through like our notes and stuff. And I have to say, I don't recall it ever being a sore spot. It was just there. It was, we did our vacations. My parents worked. I started saving from a young age. So it was never, it was just almost not a thought. That sounds terrible, but like, it wasn't something I ever stressed out about.
Yeah. Well, I think even talking to you and where we've kind of, opened up about our own personal experiences in life, it seems like money is something that you've just felt comfortable with.
I would say yes. And until I was in college in my early 20s, when I put my debit card in, and, ask for $20 and it would be like insufficient funds. And I'm like, no. It's like, all right, give me 10. But, and yeah, like that was stressful, but that was learning, like coming out of college, having a car, student loans started, an apartment, like all of that stuff. But it wasn't something that really kept me up at night. I
Yeah.
knew stuff was going to get paid, even if I had to. Like, I remember my grandmother helped me get to my first apartment. And it was just knowing that everything's going to work out. I'm not afraid to work. So, kind of going back to the comment, like my husband and I, when we joke about what we spend on vacations, it's like, okay, so we're just going to make more. Like, but we don't mind working because what we both do is fun. And the more fun you have, the more money you can make.
There's that energy behind it and you believe it too, right? So there's no fear. And I think we have talked like, where do you want to spend your money and what's most important to you? And if that helps you live a happy life, like you should be able to do that. And I think without that college experience, like we all need some relatability to people, of what that feels like. So I think everything looking at it as a learning experience, but yeah, it's interesting to hear because I know that we've talked and I just grew up in a lot of lack. I've always had so much fear in my subconscious and my nervous system around money running out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when
so many people can relate.
Yeah. I remember when we first started working together, it was so hard for me to like put money into a savings account because I was always fearful of my checking account running out. Where you're like, you clearly have money here. I'm like, yeah, but like, what if this and that? Like, I just wanted to cling and hold on to it into this one account just in case. And I have memories of my parents never fought about money, but it was always a stressor in the house and known we don't have a lot of it. And it was always openly talked to me of that, of like, oh, we're going to write you this check for your sports, but the checking account's really low. Or I'd hear, we don't have much in the account this month. And it was always just like a tension that would be felt. And I would just kind of sit there and not say anything. But this like tense feeling comes up in my body of like money could run out, right? And I've seen it happen in my life so many times of like, think I'm doing good. And then I create a disaster to like owe all this money. And then I'm like, oh my God. And owning my own business has heightened everything so much of just this. So it's been this constant nervous system regulation, inner child work for me to like let that younger girl know like, hey, you're okay, right?
Yeah.
Like the universe is going to provide for you. Like trust it. And I still don't always trust it, but
No, and it takes time. But one thing you said that was really powerful, and without intending, I'm sure your parents, like when they said like, we're going to write the check for your sports, but we're really low, like I'm sure there was part of you as a child that felt really bad almost or guilty for taking that money away from your family. Not that you were, but you know what I mean? And I think those things, like you said, they stay in our nervous system. Like when they're not in our conscious brain, like that feeling that you felt and your parents didn't do it intentionally, just maybe being honest about the money situation, you interpreted that, like your body interpreted that.
For sure. Yeah. And there's always been that feeling a little bit. Or another thing about money is willing to receive it, right? And that feeling of me not feeling worthy or bad about it. Like I can relate that into my whole nutrition journey of, we talked a lot about receiving. And I get this like really anxiety, shaky feeling when it feels like too much. And with nutrition, I've worked through that a lot I got into nutrition from having an eating disorder. And it was this thing, I don't deserve enough, right? I'm not going to eat enough. Oh, I ate a little bit too much. I'm going to go run 10 miles. Like I never knew how to preserve any energy for myself. And even with giving to people, right? It's I overextend and then I end up leave myself exhausted, right? So it's this whole theme of I don't deserve things. Like I don't deserve to receive. And the more, I work through that with nutrition, it's like, no, I'm going to balance that out. And I deserve all these nutrients. I deserve to work out and not feel exhausted so I have energy left for me. How much did I give? I'm going to go and relax and receive a little bit, right? And the money's so related to that. I like when my bank account gets a little bit more, I got to relax and be like, I deserve this. I deserve all this rather than spend it. So, I think that you said reminded me of that, of like, I don't deserve this, or I felt bad about it. So I've spent maybe a lot of my life trying to give it away.
Yeah. And a lot of people do that. And it's almost like they'll get an influx of money somehow, somewhere. But if they don't think that, one, they're good with money, or two, they deserve to not have that kind of money, that money is going to, like you said, like something's going to come up where that money then leaves you.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yes. I remember before I started working with you and we worked together, in the midst of it, I had this like traumatic car. I'm totally fine. But the traumatic part was my car insurance. But I got into a little fender bender. My insurance was all messed up and they didn't want to pay for any of it. And it was like this 6-month disaster. But at that point, I was doing really good and saving money. And then I created this incident to make me go into panic mode and needed a new car. And it was just a learning experience.
Yeah, it's just so funny how energy honestly does that. And I use this as an example to not brag or boast or whatnot. But when I was leading up to leaving Merrill Lynch, of course, I did fear that, how are we we were going to cut our lifestyle in half, like our income. And I knew that was going to look different. But I did the work from, no, everything's going to be fine. And I did the abundance. And I get it. It's woo-woo-y. But when you practice it, I'm also realistic. But my point is, 1 year later, so I started my business right before COVID. So that didn't work out super great. But a year after, so August 2020, 1 year after I left Merrill, we just bought a new townhouse down in the Outer Banks, which was something I had always wanted to do. And we had more money in the bank. And we had just literally, like, my income went away for the most part. And then I started to make money. But it just shows you, like, from an income perspective, things looked completely different. But we shifted and had more put away.
I love that. I was just reading something about that too. I think you know Kate Northrup, right? Or she has these like Good with Money nervous system course. And I was listening to a podcast that she did of how she was always like the main provider of her family, or had that belief of I need to work. And her husband would get really sick. And so it ended up being all on her. And in the midst of this, she was like, oh, this isn't working. I'm going to rewire this and take 90 days just to relax. And in that 90 days, yeah, I did too. I was like, okay, I love this. I need to do this. Because it's like we think working harder or trying to like make more is going to help us. But it's like, that's not always the answer. But in that 90 days, she's made more than she ever had. So it's like, I think when you get your body to feel safe and relaxed around a certain area, we attract more of that energy.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I wasn't stressed out. I didn't yes, I had some stress, but I was more aligned with my values at that time. And I looked at my time in corporate as such a gift and blessing to allow me, even now, to just be very flexible and focus on the stuff that lights me up. I want to have fun. And it really is true. The more fun you have in your, if you want to call it career or what your passion, the money will follow. Yeah. Because you're not stressing out about, or you're hating what you're doing, or because that doesn't create the energy of abundance. It creates just a lack or like frustration or anger. And that's not where that stuff comes from. No,
it's like attracts like, right? So it's, it makes so much sense. And so you do a lot of work with, like, that's how you kind of help people through these, like your meditations, right? The tapping, the journaling, the mindset, like you kind of mix of that.
Sound healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's been really powerful for me. So I'm looking forward to your course or your app in May, the money. What's it called again?
So it's within my app. So there's a bunch of core content, and then each week I'll put in new stuff. But every month I want to have, if anybody wants to go a little bit deeper, there's a section for the monthly focus. And May is going to be a money mindset within the app, where there's going to be certain tapping meditations, regular meditations, journaling prompts, so that you can kind of start to see what your relationship is with money, around money. And if something needs to shift, you'll have the tools to do it.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And so kind of the title of this episode is like money is energy. What does that mean to you? With money being energy, like, because we talk about it a lot, right? But then I know somebody could be listening and be like, well, all right, what the frig does that mean? So
I think the easiest way I like to think about it is it's an exchange of, so if I'm going to pay you for a service that I think will provide me with a certain feeling or certain outcome, we're just exchanging. So like, I feel like money's just kind of like, yeah, we're exchanging different types of energy, like a physical form for what I'm going to receive from that.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the easiest way, because, and it ties into, I get this question a lot. Well, do you think debt is bad?
Okay.
And I'm like, well, I was like, it depends. I was like, I don't think anything is good or bad. I'm like, is one smarter than the other types of debt? Yes. But you could have somebody that has a mortgage or in a car loan and maybe a student loan. And yes, that debt was just an exchange for a home, an education, transportation to do all the things. You could have some credit card debt. And again, I don't say what's good or bad, but if somebody has the belief that they grew up that having debt is bad, and now they have like debt for all these things, that can have like a very negative energetic feel to it. You know what I mean? Whereas if you look at from like why you have this debt, I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole, but it's just in terms of, that's another way of looking at like the energy side of things. Like, do you think it's good or bad? And so what does good look like? Somebody that doesn't have debt, like that's,
Right. And who defines good? I think these are all things that we say to ourselves, right? Like, oh, this is good, this is bad. It has to be black and white. I think we just want answers that way. Yeah. And I think anytime we rewire those things, it really can, I don't know, I would say from a perspective like what you just said, that, let's say I have so many student loans and I've been in paralysis mode, putting them off of like, but I definitely am so grateful for my education. Right? It got me to where I am. I love what I do. I help so many people. It just was quite a pricey education. And I remember like us talking and I just was like, oh, we're just not dealing with that right now. And then I looked into it and I found out that I could pay my loans off way sooner without paying interest. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I have a huge relief. And this is not like, sometimes I think we can make things bigger too, good or bad, if we put them in a category and hide them away, versus like just kind of like accepting it and taking the time to just start.
Well, and that's a perfect example of how money is energy, because once you looked at it, saw a plan for it that was a lot better than the story you had in your mind, your energy shifted. So then looking at the actual dollar amount had a completely different impact on you than it did when you weren't looking at it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see a lot with my clients too, is I think we all just want to feel progress, right? Or we're like starting to, rather than this stuck feeling or overwhelmed feeling, it's like those are feelings, right? But it's like when you can start to feel differently about the situation of, oh, I can do this, or, even nutrition, right? I saw the scale move down a few pounds, or I'm feeling better, my clothes fit better. It can be really encouraging to gain momentum and like want to do more. And not every month is the same. It's like you'll see more progress some months than others, and then it kind of can be more of a status quo month. But the more I guess because I understand nutrition well, and that's what I do, like I keep relating everything to that because is making my money make more sense. It's everything's connected.
It's little progress. Like when I start with somebody who they've never come up with a plan, so just to start somewhere, same type of thing. Like whether it's £1 or it's $50 one month in the bank, like in the bank. It's like when you start to see small progress, things just build from there.
Yes.
Like that's, like you said, momentum, like the momentum starts. So whether food, whether it's savings, whatever it is, just seeing progress, our brains naturally, it's a dopamine hit.
Yeah. Makes you feel good.
Yeah. So it encourages you to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that because I think right now in every area of life, there's so much noise out there of, do this plan, follow this program, eat this. This is how you should be saving, or this worked for me and I look this way, or I have this much money. And before I was working with you, I was just so overwhelmed of like I just can go into this paralysis state. And to have somebody just to guide me of like, okay, this is what we're going to work on this month and then this month. And this is actually real. Don't pay attention to this. It can be so helpful because social media and the internet is so much noise and overwhelm that it's never going to take the place of like working with a coach. So yeah, I don't know if you have any opinions on that of like just
100. Yeah. Like the social media noise and gosh, your industry, especially, I found myself too. You have all these people that are experts and then they're contradicting each other. And then it's like this, it's so overwhelming. And whatever area you're feeling overwhelmed in, you don't take action. You do get stuck. And then you just ignore it because it seems like too much of a mountain to climb. So it's like when you can just take one step, like, and that one step could be writing down money and looking at all like the thoughts and the beliefs that come up, or it's opening the statement online or opening your mail just to know. And doesn't mean you have to sit there and go through it and analyze it. Just open and then be like, okay, well, I'll look at it tomorrow, but I'll open it today. Like just, and it sounds so silly, but if there's somebody that doesn't open their bills because they don't want to know because they're overwhelmed or afraid to, you just start small. You start small, and that's when you start to like get a little momentum and you make progress.
Yeah, yeah. So would that be like your best advice for someone to start small if they're like overwhelmed with like the noise around money or where to start or?
Yeah, the journaling around your thoughts around money is huge. I think that's a great place to start. And then it's just doing one small thing. And that's where like some people will come to me and they don't know what the small thing is. And that's what we'll put together, just little small action items. Yeah. Like depending on the situation.
That's been so helpful for me. And I probably will continue to work with you for as long as I can. It's just, even we'll meet every like, 6 to 8. Oh, thank you. You too. It's kind of like we talk like this and it's like, then I just get some good advice and it keeps me on track. Like I do well with, okay, this is what I want you to do this month. And it's really just kept me focused rather than, oh, maybe I'll read this book or try this course. And then I'm like, well, that was fun. And then you get overwhelmed with work and it's like life is busy, So I think anything that we can do is small and attainable and find people to help us along our path that really like cater it to you is really impactful. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's no one size fits all.
No, of course not. So start small. And then let's say somebody wanted to start like improving their relationship with money, right? Would you give the same advice or is anything? Because I think a lot of people probably aren't thinking that way, right? It's like, I just need to save more. I need to make more, right? Yeah. But like to kind of like start to improve your.
Yeah. And I think the first place to start would be that journaling exercise because you don't know what your relationship is with it until you really look at it.
All right. That's been said 3 times or 4. So do it. And I would encourage it. That was a really impactful part for me too. And if you feel some emotions around it, it's good. And
and you know what? Maybe just notice, go through like about your day or maybe your week, depending on, and you don't have to write it down because it's a step further, but notice where you're spending money.
Yeah.
Because does that align with your values and where you're going? So one thing I actually mentioned in my podcast a couple weeks ago, I was working with somebody, and it's so easy nowadays, whether it's Amazon or whatever Instagram link, to buy something so quickly that before you would have had to go to a store, you could do some research, try some things on, blah, blah, blah. And the reason I mentioned it was because I was working with somebody, and the idea is before you click buy, you ask yourself why you're buying it in the first place, if you're kind of justifying the reason about buying it, and does it align with where you're like what your goals are for money per se, or tomorrow when this thing arrives, or 3 hours from now, if it's one of those Amazon things, how are you going to feel longer term, like a couple days from now, week from now, a month from now, having spent that money?
Yeah, we did that a lot too, and that was really helpful for me. Amazon, man, is such an easy thing now, and it feels so good to get a package out your door.
Yeah.
It's just, I catch myself, and I remember that we did that. I wrote down in paper. I think there's something to writing on paper that makes you think more. So
Yeah.
I did a paper journal for a couple months and added up, and I even went as far as writing down why I was buying it. And the more I do that when I'm on track with it, it definitely helps. It keeps you more aware. Like I tell my clients to do their food journals and, write it down. And you don't have to obsess about every little calorie or get down on yourself for the good or bad. But
Yeah.
why are we doing it, and how is it making you feel? And does that impact your long-term goals, But
100%. And that's exactly my point around money for that and spending.
Cool. I love that. Yeah. Well, this has been so helpful.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
What a fun conversation.
I know. I could talk about this stuff all day. And I'm
Money
sure
can be fun.
it can be, especially when you start to see progress. It's like,
Yes.
And I think that's a big thing. It's like, how do you start to love your money more and get more excited for it? And for me, that's been more signs that like I'm shifting that, right? Because it's like, well, how do you know you're making progress? For me, it's been, I feel better about it. Like, I just feel like my relationship is better. I don't have anything in hiding. It, may not always be perfect, but I'm willing to look at it and also give my money places to go rather than just like sit there because I'm scared. So, it's been really, really helpful.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. So where can people find you now?
So if MichelleWoerdeman.com. So it's MichelleWoerdeman.com. There's an offerings tab, which will show the different ways. Happy Mind, Happy Life podcast, which is on Apple, Podbean, wherever you're listening to your favorite podcasts. And then the Happy Mind, Happy Life app, which is found in the Apple Store. Android is coming soon. There's some technical difficulties behind the scenes, but that's okay. So there's all sorts of ways to work with me.
That's so cool. I love to hear everything you're doing. And I'll definitely be checking out your app. And
Thank you.
If we could end with a couple fun rapid fire questions, just because I wrote them down, I feel like it's just a little fun. So cool. All right. So are you somebody who likes to spend or save?
Both.
Okay, cool.
Both.
Balanced.
Yes.
And I think that's like the whole theme of your business, like kind of Yeah. So I love that. One word to describe your current money energy.
Abundant.
I love that.
And just fun. Like, honest, I really can't stress enough, like, just the lightness around it just makes it so much easier and flow more.
Yeah, that's a big theme, too, that you've said, of bring more fun to it. Because I think our body relaxes, and then we allow more joy, abundance, whatever we want in life to come in.
Yep.
Yeah. And then my last question, if you could think of a purchase under $100 that, maybe was really exciting for you or changed your life.
Something under 100, I would say, let's see. I love books, but that's lame. Like, I'm thinking of something really good that was
Well, a
under
book could change somebody's life, It's
I know. Yes, I should. Yeah, I think listening to probably my first Tony Robbins Audible book, maybe. Like
cool.
listening to him, like he's so motivating. Because I was gonna say one of his events, but I was like, that was not under $100.
Oh, heck no. I think getting into this space of personal development, I started a lot with that too, of like Tony Robbins and like Rachel Hollis and Jenna Kutcher and all their podcasts. I was like, I'm going to go to one of those events. And I just never got to it. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
But then.
And you know what? Just popped into my mind, like a shirt or something that you feel really good in. And it doesn't have to be super expensive.
I love that.
Yeah. I think something that makes you feel good. So yeah, I would say like clothing, like, and not multiple things, but just one go-to piece. And it doesn't have to be expensive, under $100, that just makes you feel really good. Whether it's confident, comfy, whatever.
Oh, that's a really good piece of advice, because sometimes there can be guilt with buying something for yourself, right? But if it's something you feel really good in, that's going to attract more energy and make you feel like the part of who you want to be. How do you want to feel? And so go buy yourself something nice, but you have to, that you feel good in.
Yes. And make sure that you're going to not like look out to the future and be like, okay, if I do this now, how am I going to feel a week from now about this? Am I still like, is this okay?
Yeah. I love that. So thank you for sharing, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Good. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Yeah, we'll be back next week and hopefully having more guests in the future. So thank you so much for listening to the Lean Life podcast. Your support truly means everything. If you loved this episode, the best way to support the show is to leave a review, subscribe, or share it with someone you care about. If you want to go deeper, I work with clients one-to-one through intuitive functional nutrition, both locally on the South Shore of Boston and online. You can always reach out, ask questions, or connect with me. I'd love to support you. Sending you love, balance, and a reminder to lean into all that you are. I'll see you in the next episode.